Right there, that's good.
Everybody ready?
Okay, everybody got quiet fast. Are we ready? Well, let me welcome everybody here today. This is just a day, frankly, to give recognition to so many people who have come together to make a big problem something that's workable and a solution, finding a solution to a number of important issues to the people in this community. And it's frankly an opportunity to say thank you to everyone. I see so many people in the audience here today who ought to speak. And for those of you who aren't speaking, I know we could have a list of 100 people who have been engaged in making this whole process work out. We've got a good sampling of those who are going to be able to make a few remarks to you today. I just want to start this off by saying we're recognizing the fact that a record of decision has been signed in terms of the management of the Deer Flat National Refuge. And we will have Annette talk about that in a few minutes as well. But I wanted to just go back and remind everybody where we were. As I was coming out here with Brian, my staffer, who's been working this issue for me, he reminded me it's been over 8 years since we've been working on this. And we're here today in a good resolution of the issue. I remember that day right here at the lake when we were having a rally. And when we pulled in, there wasn't space in the parking lot down in the lower lot area. And I thought that the entire southwestern population of Idaho had showed up. And pretty much in spirit they had, because this was that important of an issue to them. And Raúl was there that day. I remember you were running for Congress that day. So even before he became a member of Congress, he was engaged in helping to work on these issues. And the list has just expanded from then. So I'm not going to go into much detail. There's a lot of others here to discuss that, and I'll actually give a few wrap-up comments at the end. I'm mainly here to just say thank you to everybody for staying involved and working through this issue and helping us to get to a resolution where today we can come together in an agreement in terms of how we should move forward in managing this incredible resource that we here in Idaho love so much. So with that, let me go to our next speaker, and that will be Representative Raúl Labrador, who has been a strong advocate for helping us get to yes on this issue. Raúl, thank you for your work.
You know, Lake Lowell and the surrounding Deer Flat Wildlife Refuge is an oasis for all of us in the desert. And the lake, as you know, provides irrigation for up to 200,000 acres of surrounding land. I remember 5 years ago, and I'm so grateful to Senator Crapo and for his leadership on this issue. 5 years ago, when I was running for Congress, he invited me to come here and to be at the rally. And at the time, it was such an important issue for the people of this local region. And it was something that I was able to see firsthand what a good member of Congress does and what a leader in the community does. And I was able to stand shoulder to shoulder with the senator and work on this issue. And the last 5 years after being elected and being in office for 4 out of those 5 years, I have worked with my staff tirelessly to make sure that this good result that we're getting here today does happen. When the Fish and Wildlife Service began the review process in 2010, I joined many of you right here at this at this place, and we shared some serious concerns about the planned alternatives. And every one of us agreed on one single thing, which is that local control of the lake is best for the people of Idaho, and the federal government needs to listen to the people. And frankly, I'm grateful that the federal government has listened to the people, that we have been able to come up with a good solution where the local people can make their decisions for themselves. We can enjoy the lake, we can enjoy the surrounding area of the lake, and we can do the things that this lake was really built for. I remember 5 years ago, it was dumbfounding to me, as maybe with little experience in federal issues, dumbfounding to me that the people of this county could create an area of refuge And all of a sudden, the federal government was trying to tell the people of this county how they were going to use that area of refuge. And I think that was unconscionable. And I'm just so grateful that we have been able to work together and work hard to find a resolution. So thank you, Senator Crapo. Thank you, Annette. And thank you, all of you who have been working so tirelessly to bring this community together.
Thank you. And as I've said, the list of those who should speak today is far too long for the time that we have. But representing the county commission here, who I've met with many times in their office and met with out here and in my office as we tried to work through this, is Tom Dale. And Tom, as you make your way up, I really want to be sure that we recognize a couple of the commissioners, former commissioners, who are not here today. And, you know, that'd be Dave Ferdinand and Kathy Alder, who are here. Dave. And, you know, your county officials have just been absolutely rock solid in helping us get to a solution here. And Tom, you get to have an opportunity to represent them.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you, Senator. And I do want to say thank you to Senator Crapo. And where's Brian? Brian Ricker, where are you?
He's right there.
Probably hiding in the back as usual. You and your staff have been on point on this issue from the very beginning. And it was your leadership that really was an inspiration to all of us. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for being
Brian
on
who
that.
put in the 8.5 years of hard work.
That's right. That's right. So Brian's an amazing guy. So thank you, Brian. And I want to thank Congressman Labrador for being on point on this as well and just coming right along inside and saying, hey, this is something we need to get solved. There's a lot of people to thank. I had an opportunity a couple of weeks ago to travel over to the regional office in Portland and meet with Kevin Forster and Miel Corbett and some of their other staff. And it was just a great collaborative type of a meeting. I'm very thankful to those people for listening to Canyon County residents. I want to thank Governor Butch Otter for his help along with this issue. And along with that, the Canyon County legislators. I know Christy Perry is going to speak up for them here in a little bit, but all of you guys have been with us on this. And that is just tremendous. Annette, where's Annette? Annette right here. She's the new manager out here, Knijf, and she's going to speak to you. Justin Harrison in the area of businesses wrote letters, spoke to folks, said, listen, this is going to impact us economically. We can't accept what was coming down the pike, and they made a tremendous difference. And Joe Bell for his historical expertise on this. That's his passion. You'll hear a little bit from him. And to the people of Canyon County who came out by the hundreds to support this issue. This is really the way government's supposed to work, from the top down. One of the problems we have today as you look at elections is that 15 to 25% voter turnout. I don't know what percentage was, but we had a tremendous turnout to support Lake Lowell continuing to be used as we have enjoyed it historically. So that's the way it's supposed to work. You know, I came to Nampa in 1968 to go to NNC, now NNU. Shortly after arriving, I learned of the existence of Lake Lowell. And most notably, some of the neat things about Lake Lowell were the legend of the ghost of Gotts Point. Anybody know about that? Joe does, okay. And then the other real significant issue that we learned about as freshmen at NNC was the submarine races that took place out here in the evening at night. And you could bring your girlfriend and watch the submarine races out there. Well, seriously, for its documented historical uses, as well as the legendary ones, Lake Lowell has been and will continue to be an incredible asset to our community. For over 100 years, it has served the needs of Canyon County irrigators with abundant water for the variety of crops that our farmers grow. The land around the lake has been the home for a variety of wildlife. I'm sure Annette could tell you all the different types of things here. I don't know if we have time to go into that, but tremendous number of birds and animals that call this home. And the lake, the water, great fishing out there, bass fishing, a lot of carp. I know, I keep trying to get those. I still haven't figured out how to get them. But it's also been the place to go for many of Canyon County residents when it's hot when they just want someplace to cool down, when they need someplace close by to go skiing, wakeboarding, swimming, this is where they come. Kayaking, sailing, it all happens right here. And the good news is that Lake Lowell will continue to be that incredible asset to the people of Canyon County, and for all of these reasons. The process we have gone through these past several years, I believe, is a model for how government of the people, by the people, most notably for the people, is supposed to work and can work. From the federal level to the state level to the county level to the citizens who just speak up, this is how it's supposed to work. And working together, we have arrived at a successful and acceptable CCP. When the process is not about establishing dominion or control, but about doing the right thing, a good result will happen. And that is what happened. It was a strong team effort of Idahoans to clearly express the interests and concerns. It was a strong team effort from our federal delegation. It was a strong team effort from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, who came together, reviewed and re-reviewed, and then looked at it again and said, you know what, we can make these changes. And they responded to our needs. I'm very grateful for that. So once again, to all of you who have been actively involved in this process for 8 years, thank you. Keep it up. Don't let down. This comes up again in 15 years. We need to stay engaged.
And reviews at 5 and 10.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. And next will be Christy Perry. And as Christy's coming up here to represent and to speak on behalf of our legislators, I know we have a couple in attendance. We've got Rob Anders here and Greg, right? Cheney? I haven't met all of our legislators or haven't internalized them yet, so I apologize for that. And there's a couple I haven't seen yet that I think I do want to give a shout out to, and that's Patty Ann Lodge and Brandon Hickson, who have been on this issue as well. You probably know some more that I should have just mentioned, Christy, but our state legislators, particularly those who represent the districts surrounding this area, have been incredibly instrumental in helping us get to the right answers here. So Christy.
Thank you, Senator. I'd like all of you to know that I actually began working on this before I ever became a legislator as well. And I bring that up because the one thing that I've loved about this entire process is the fact that the community and the citizens of this community were actually involved. And when I began campaigning, I'd knock on people's doors and they'd go, oh, I'm not political. And I'm like, well, I don't necessarily need you to be political because I'm not either. I just need you to be engaged. And I think this is a perfect example of how citizen engagement came together to save something that they felt was so near and dear to them in their community. And they did a wonderful job. When we first began, we did a Save the Lake campaign. I know Justin Harrison and I and Joe Bell worked on that tremendously. Later on in the process, we also did a parade. And in both cases, we were able to engage the citizens of Canyon County who came out and put in all their input into this, who came out and became part of the parade and were excited to be part of something and felt like they had a piece of and doing their part in saving something that was near and dear to them. And so of all things, that's what I'm so proud of in all of this was the citizen engagement. I think Canyon County and the process that we went through here is a shining example. And I hope to the rest of the nation to say that not only does government work for its people, but in doing so, it has to learn to work with its people. And I think that that is really what happened out here at Deer Flat. So that it worked at the federal level, it worked at the county level, it worked at our local level. And I'm so proud of all of that. And I'd like to stand here and thank, on behalf of all of the Canyon County legislators especially, thank you to everybody who was involved, and especially to the citizens who came out in support and saved their lake. So thank you very much.
And next, we're going to hear from a couple of those citizen, not necessarily elected citizens, but just the citizens who have come out and helped to be so engaged. And as I've said so many times already, it's that kind of involvement from the folks who live here, who help us learn how to govern here, that makes this such an importantly successful project. And Justin Harrison is the first who we'd like to have asked to come up here. You were there at that rally.
Yeah, we were a pretty good portion.
It was probably you that filled the parking lot at that rally.
Yeah, we had another one that could have happened, but it was able to put it off for a while, so that's
We
good.
went to the store.
So I'd like to thank all of our senator representatives, local and otherwise, commissioners for coming out. It's been a long battle. I kind of wrote some stuff here, but I'll paraphrase as best I can. But the balance between people and wildlife has become a real fine line. And it's increasingly difficult to get all that to come together. And we've definitely done that here. And so I'm proud of everyone that's involved that we're definitely going to stick with the program, get people to make better places for us that'll last. Much like the CCP is designed to create 100 years of good working order in our refuge. That's what we're trying to do. And we're going to promote that on a business level as well. So our dependence on recreation is not just about jobs. You know, hardworking Idahoans, myself and others, we need a place to go to unwind. And Lake Lowell is the diamond of Canyon County. You know, everyone can come here, whether you're going to go fishing one night or during the day, or bring your kids out to catch something off the dock, or if you're out, you know, doing what we promote in our power boating. It's something that we can easily get from our work or our homes to here, and in just a few minutes, we can check out of the electronics world that keeps our families from being cohesive like it used to be. And that, you know, we really promote that at our work, is that our families that buy into boating, it's a lifestyle, it's a change, it's something that you do because seldom do you get all of your family to look at each other at the same time anymore. And we really need to do that. It's very important. So, you know, it's great that this has all come through, and we have closed one chapter here today, which is awesome, but we're not done. We're going to keep this on the forefront of our thoughts and how we can improve. You know, we're paying for invasive species inspections at our borders and through our registration of boats already. I'd like to see that move to you know, a fragile lake area and have the people that are coming to this lake have their boats checked. I want to be able to have them come to any of the service stores, not just mine, because convenience is such a huge problem on boating. Is it's really hard to be a boater anymore. It just takes so much time to really do it right. Well, if they could drop their boat off for service and I could certify their boat to be free of invasive species, you know, we can overcome some of those issues that are really, you know, potentially going to damage the entire Idaho's water sources. So we've come up with other ideas, but we just make sure we stay thinking outside the box. Let's not just get stuck in that trough that we have been in for many years on just doing exactly what the rules say. Let's start thinking about ways to do things that maybe no one's done before. Like let's have a phone app that shows you where you're close to a no-wake zone or you're going too fast. So we don't have to look at 500 buoys in the lake. But if you scan this QR code on the sign before you go in, you're set up and you're there. And they can actually track every boat on the lake and have information that would be helpful in the future. So there's a lot of things we could do. You know, all the factions have been involved. I think we all got something out of this, and that's the compromise that Joe and Senator Crapo and Labrador, Christy, it's everyone got something out of this. And that's what the ultimate goal was. And maybe it's not perfect, but we know that if we, you know, we're at one end of the lake and Refuge is over here, we meet in the middle, we can actually make this work. And that's why we're here today. And I sure thank everyone for sticking to it. I didn't do near as much as I keep getting credit for. I was just more of a centerpiece, and everyone else kind of helped out. But in closing, my family came to Idaho in 1896. I'm going to stay here the rest of my life. There's no way I'm leaving Idaho. And so I want this to be something that my kids and their grandkids and whoever else can come to, and that's our ultimate goal here. So thanks a lot. And remember, Lake opens the 15th, and it's here to have fun this year for sure.
Thank you, Justin. And Justin said it right. Collaboration, when it works right, does not have winners and losers. It has winners and winners. And everybody won in this situation. That's the reason that we work so hard at this. And now another citizen who I think everybody knows, Joe Bell. Come on up, Joe. As I was riding up here, coming in with Brian Ricker in the car, Brian says he thinks that you called him every single day for the last 8.5 years.
Twice a day.
Or came into his office. Well, you have been a tireless advocate. Go ahead, Joe.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Both to our federal delegation. But let me back up 8 years. I was in the room when a representative of U.S. Fish and Wildlife stated, quote, "We will take boating off Lake Lowell. We will." That was concerning then. A guy by the name of Ralph Gant, who isn't here today, who was on the Waterways Commission, actually communicated directly and efficiently, quickly, with then Board Chair Commissioner David Ferdinand. And at that point, we communicate with Senator Crapo's office instantly. My task was to identify and understand every aspect of the Comprehensive Conservation Plan or the Refuge Reclamation Act. We began to dissect it historically, looking at 3 areas. The culture. Does it impact our culture? And what can our culture do to change to be a better partner with? The economic impacts. Brian Ricker, Christy Perry, and myself went from businesses door to door on 12th Avenue identifying what potential industries could in fact be impacted. We were there to reassure them that regardless of outcome, the CCP process had to be done. It did. But more so, we were there to reassure them that at local, state, and federal levels, we are engaged on behalf of people. But the victory isn't ours. The victory, in fact, is collaboration and a community. And I want to be the first to speak today to welcome our new refuge manager. Welcome to Canyon County. The third aspect we looked at was, what is the historical side? Our historic uses. All 3 of those things came into play. And yeah, I was probably a pain in the neck to Senator Crapo's office, but that's how we live in Canyon County. That's how we roll.
We love you.
You bet. Ask Councilman Paul Raymond, who's out there today. I call him too. Nevertheless, but as the process continued, we understood that not only was it a mandated process, it wasn't the fault of U.S. Fish and Wildlife. It was a process that had to be completed. And more so, I earnestly believe, based on the historic record, that we are better because of it. We are now protecting a refuge, which is a resource for the next generation. Historically, February 25th of 1909, we created this refuge. Nampa and Caldwell didn't border each other, and we didn't have the issue with encroachments that we have today. Therefore, is it not in the best interest to preserve something for the next generation? I'm grateful that we have come to a resolution that actually includes the cultural, economic, historical, and even social issues. And if you would have told me in that room when all we heard was we're taking boats, that we would have communicated. This today is the victory of the people of Canyon County. Let it be a model. Let the word go forth from this location to all locations. The government of the people, by the people, and for the people has not perished from the earth. I'm going to close with the following. Burn it to your very soul. We have a saying in these parts, and it was probably the most eloquent thing I have ever read in the Idaho Press Tribune. You guys know what it is? We have a saying in these parts that we are proud to be 2C. Say it with me. We're proud to be 2C. Thank you.
Now there's an advocate. And thank you for all of your work, Joe. And now I would like to introduce Annette Knijf. Did I pronounce it right? Yes. Who is the new manager. And we appreciate you here. And I wanted to say that before I turn it over to you, I wanted to also give a shout out to Robin, who is in Spokane.
Portland.
In Portland, excuse me, in Portland, and to those, on that day when we were talking about that rally, I don't remember the official's name, but we had an official from Portland who flew all the way out here and stood in front of the crowd. You'll recall that, and took the public input. And we appreciate the fact that we have been able to work together and achieve the kind of solution that Joe just so eloquently described. So Annette, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all. I'd like to take this out of here. Oh, maybe I can't do that. It's got other things on there. I hope that'll be all right. I prefer to have it loose and.
It's not going to pull out.
Okay, well, we'll just
Here, I'll move it closer.
we'll just wing it. I like to kind of walk around, but that's all right. I want to thank Senator Crapo and Congressman Labrador for having this event here today. I also want to thank Senator Risch, also the Canyon County State Delegation, and the Canyon County Commissioners. I also want to thank all of you for being here today at your National Wildlife Refuge. As Joe Bell mentioned, back in 1909, Deer Flat was established and is one of the oldest national wildlife refuges in the country. The Deer Flat National Wildlife Refuge is comprised of 11,000 acres. There's the Lake Lowell unit where we are today, and there's also the Snake River Islands unit, which is 104 islands that stretch from the Ada Canyon County line all the way to Farewell Bend, Oregon. The Lake Lowell unit was established as a wetland oasis to protect wildlife. Many different types of animals come here. It's a place for them to feed, a place for them to rest, and a place for them to raise their families. Today, this refuge is also an oasis for people where families can come and connect with nature and enjoy many activities in America's great outdoors. I want to thank everyone who participated in our planning process, who gave us input, who provided comments, and who supported us and worked with us. Our final management plan reflects what we heard from you, the public. It reflects our responsibility to protect wildlife with the many recreational activities that we all enjoy here. I also want to thank, we're also going to continue working with Canyon County and the community to continue providing these recreational activities to the public. We invite you to come out here to sunbathe, to swim, to boat. We invite you to come here to hunt for deer, for ducks, for upland game birds. We invite you to come here to fish, for perch, for bass. We also invite you to come and observe wildlife at the many trails that we have here, at our observation areas, and right here at the visitor center. We also invite you to come here and enjoy the many family-friendly, nature-based programs that the refuge provides throughout the year. And we also look forward to continuing to work with the community to provide expanded visitor services here. For example, the regional pedestrian bicycle access plan, which would connect families to the refuge on a network of safe trails. So thank you again for coming here. Thank you for your support, and we hope to see you at the refuge.
Could I ask all the folks who have spoken to just come on up here? We're done with the speaking except for my wrap-up remarks, and then we're going to see if there are any questions. And so you got to help answer questions as well as make comments. I just wanted to wrap up by saying thank you again to everybody who's been involved in making this a success, in making it a win-win solution for Idaho, for the recreation and for the opportunity we have to experience and enjoy this incredible resource. I was reminded by Brian just a moment ago to also remind everybody, we haven't mentioned it yet, but irrigation is protected in this whole system. Another aspect of the important utilization that the people of Idaho want to see accomplished here. And the point is that so many uses of this incredible resource we have are able to be achieved and enhanced because of the work that everyone did to get us to this point today. So again, thank you all very much. There are lots of folks out there that I apologize I haven't given you a personal shout out. There's just so many I don't have the time, and besides that, we need to get to the questions and answers. So look around, everybody, and then just imagine that parking lot that was filled with everybody in the entire southwestern part of the state a few years ago, and think about what a great success this is for us here in Idaho. With that, are there any questions? You look like you're going to ask one, Dave.
Tom brought it up, and that is the submarine races.
Were they protected? You know, I am not aware of that issue being discussed up until today.
Well, I just wondered, we always drove out to Gats Point to watch those. I just wondered how the Gats Point access was going to work.
I'm going to let Tom answer that question. Thank you.
I don't think I can answer anything about the submarine races because those are actually, kind of on the down low, so to speak. But I did want to say I neglected to thank Senator Rich's folks. We got a letter from them as well. Month ago, 2 months ago, we were back in Washington, D.C., Commissioner Hanson and myself, and we did visit with both senators and with Congressman Labrador's office and Simpson, and got a really good response from all of the folks to help us in this effort here. So I neglected to say thank you to Senator Rich. So please pass on my thanks to him as well.
Yeah, thank you. And in fact, you just gave me a reminder there. You always make some mistake. And how could I have overlooked my colleague in the Senate, Jim Risch? He's not here today. I think that he actually has a family matter that he has the family or a close friend. I don't know who, but he's not able to be here today. But I have to tell you, Jim Risch is a great United States Senator. He's been a great ally here in helping us get these solutions done. And I apologize. Please tell him I apologize for missing that in the beginning. Other questions? Yes.
Senator, I don't have really a question, just a comment. As the president of Kane County Farm Bureau, today's president, I was on the board 8 years ago, but this was a great concern to us, and we're very pleased with the outcome. And we can't thank you all enough. I mean, water is the livelihood of this that we live in, and because of the lake and the water, we also have the opportunity to create the wildlife spectrum there and the recreation, and it's a great deal. It's worked out well, and we're very pleased. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Question that would probably be best answered by Annette, is it?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Could you speak to maybe the determining factor from Fish and Wildlife's perspective as to opening up the lake a little bit more for recreational uses compared to the original final plan?
Well, I can speak to the preferred alternative was always alternative number 2. And so that already had the lake open to all of the uses that can currently occur here. One of the issues that we looked at was the wake generating devices on the boats. And we realized that the stipulations that were in the draft to the final, they didn't really address other boats without those devices that can generate wake. And so that's why we kind of scaled that back. And I hope that answers your question. The record of decision will be available on our website for folks probably as of now. So you can take a look at that. And if anybody wants me to actually email a copy or something like that, let me know.
During this whole discussion, there was just a matter of question that there's not enough data to say that these wake generating devices do have a negative harm on the habitat here.
Mm-hmm.
Are there plans from Fish and Wildlife to create those studies and to look further into that?
Well, we do know from studies at other places that wake can impact birds that nest over the water. And so that's why we instituted the no wake zones. And we do hope to hire folks to take a look at our specific situation here at the Deer Flat to give us better information on that.
I might have a little information regarding that.
Sure.
Did you want to come up?
Yeah. Because of the outcry we had here, and as it turns out, we're the tip of the sword, so to speak, of the whole nation and the wake issues that we're having, whether it's degrading banks or private property or docks or anything like that. I personally have been involved in getting the manufacturers of our boats to start a study. I think they're trying to get MIT to do it, to determine how far and how big and how long it takes for things to dissipate to a level that's not going to be damaging. So we have started that process, and it might take a couple of years, but we will have actual scientific data that says, this is how far you need to be if you only want this amount of wave, from this amount of weight or what have you. But there will be some numbers set to that. So in the future, when we have these arguments with whether it's Bureau of Reclamation or private lakes, who knows what, there will be information out there that actually shows what it does and how it works. So that'll be something we'll have lots of information on later.
Good. Thank you, Justin.
And I could just address the first part of your question, what really impacted U.S. Fish and Wildlife, because directly from the director, Kevin Forrester is a Pacific Region Director. Right?
He's the Chief of Refuges.
Chief of Refuges for the whole Pacific region. And he said the reason they took another look at that was because of the letters from the people of Canyon County that was directly responsible for taking a look at that and saying, you know what, they have a good point. We're gonna back off.
Other questions? All right, thank you, everybody. We appreciate you being here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Annette.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.